In the last video, we just refactored our function right here, our app function, to become a ES6 class component. And we did that by just saying class app extends component, which we imported from the React library. Nothing's changed here, except that our component doesn't really look like a function, and it has this render method where all of the actual JSX is written. We'll see a number of ways in which this helps us write more powerful front-end code, but for now, that's good. One thing you do see, though, is that this is now getting pretty big. And so one thing we can do to make this a little easier is we can use some default props to make sure our app starts with the correct data. So instead of defining a bunch of variables in here, inside this render method, like this, I'm just going to take all of these things right here, and I'm going to grab them, copy them, delete. Uh-oh, now it's looking at me like, hey, what's going on here? And I am going to come to the bottom of class app, and I'm going to say app.defaultProps is equal to. Do you see this? And so what default props allow you to do is it allows you to say, hey, I want this app to start off with all of these default props that I declared before. So all I need to do is put them inside this object that I just declared. So instead of saying sidebar title equals, I say sidebar title colon daily menu. Oops, didn't want that. And I'll say right now colon is the new date.string. All that goodness. Cool. Comma. And the same thing. That's right. Menu colon this new menu. Menu colon. Oops. Oh, that was cool. Oh, don't need that. Shazam. And so by doing this, I've now put some default properties onto my app. And so right in here, actually I can get rid of all this. Right in here, because I've said app.defaultProps, this class app starts off with some props that are right down here. And I can just say props.sidebar title, props.rightnow, props.menu. The problem is, notice that we're not declaring props anymore. Where's the props? You might think we put in the render method. That's actually not how it works. Instead, you just refer to this app component as this.props. And you say this.props.rightnow, this.props.menu. And this is something in JavaScript that you just see all the time. This dot, this dot, this dot. And what it refers to is when you create this class, every time it makes a new class component, it's a new instance of the class. And again, if you haven't done a lot of object-oriented programming before, you'll look at this and say, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's okay. Just know that this, the keyword this, refers to app. And so it would be the same thing as saying app.props.sidebar title, but we're using it inside app. So instead we just say this. Now this has, the keyword this has all kinds of other crazy stuff attached to it that I don't want to go into now because it's not, you don't need it. But when you say this, just know that it's referring to the app. And so when I say app.defaultProps, it creates a props object that it attaches to app, and we can reference it by saying this.props right here. Question? Yeah, I guess I could. You could say now, I could line these all up like this. Yep, that's totally fine. I actually don't do it here. I don't know. I'm weird. I have like my weird things. Like I don't write with semicolons, even though they come with semicolons here. Everyone gets so mad at me about that. They say, where are your semicolons? I say, I don't write them. Pisses a lot of people off. People are very upset about it. Let's not get into it right now. That's another debate for another time. But all you can see is that by doing this, we can then come in here and just change the default props, and we don't get all cluttered inside the app component. And so everything still works the same. And let's just, actually, how do we know for sure that everything works the same? Well, one really, really cool part about React is if I save this, and I come in here, and I inspect element, control click, inspect, there's an additional part of the developer tools here that is essential. Oh, look, it tells us if I go to the console, download the React Devtools for a better development experience. And you can go there and you can download them. I already have them downloaded. So let's take a look at this. Oh, I do not have them downloaded on this computer. Bummer. So you can't install them on yours either, huh? You know what, that's fine. I'm just going to do it right now. Let's go to React Developer Tools. I'm going to add them to Chrome. Add extension. Cool, lovely, and there it is. And you can use this extension by clicking on the icon, or you can just come in here. Let's refresh this really quickly because I think that might work. And nope, it didn't work. Okay, let's try it one more time. Come in here, control, inspect elements. Ah, there it is. So there's React. See that right there? So what's really cool about this is if I click on that React Developer Console, it will connect to React and it'll show me my whole app here. And then each of the components is listed here with each of their properties and their children and their, like everything you need to know about each of these components is there. So there's my app main, there's my sidebar with the title and the now, and it gives you the actual thing itself, not the code that made it. And so you can see here's all of my data. There's all my menu. I have a bakery array, a coffee array, and a specials object. Whoa, pretty cool, right? So I can actually see all of the data that is making my app what it is. And this is, I mean, it's one of the main reasons why I continue to use React today, is because the developer tools for React are just fantastic. You can find out everything you need to know about your component, inspect it internally, figure out what's going on in each of your React elements. And so I keep this open almost all the time when I'm developing apps in React. So that's good enough for now. We've done a lot of cool stuff here. We made an ES6 class. We used the this keyword, which is referring to an instance of the React class component itself. And again, is a core part of just writing object-oriented code in React. And again, like you can think, yeah, I know, I didn't explain it. You can think of a class as basically a blueprint for how to create components. So this class app is saying, here's how, if you want to make a new app, here is how you would create it. It's a blueprint for creating one instance of a class, which is an object that encapsulates all the information and behavior it needs to do the things we want it to do. And we can make multiple instances of a class. We could use, of this app, we can make 3 or 4 different apps if we want to, but we only really need one. And so this refactor doesn't really seem to be providing us with anything useful yet, though the React developer tools are fantastic. This is great. But in the next video, let's talk about why we want to use a class to begin with. So what's the purpose of a class? Why do we need it? How does it help us? And so we're going to get into the main component next, and we're going to build out the core functionality of this app. Cool? Yeah, and I'll paste all this into Slack. Trust me, we're good.